We just knew we wanted to be a bunch of little Carl Perkinses. What we really wanted to do was rock and roll, but we were all kind of small town country boys, and that's just the way it comes out, right? Like anybody who wants to be entertained, show up. It's really, really going to be good. And I'm not just saying that because I'm in it. I will be there. Even if I wasn't playing, I would be there because it's like the purest expression of music to me.
My name is Corey Evans, and I am not a rock star. I am a caffeine junkie, licensed minivan operator, touring musician, and a proud American. Ride with me as I tour the greatest country on earth and talk to the real rock stars, our local legends, small town heroes, and those who bravely serve our country. And even though I'm not a rock star, I do live a pretty rock and roll life. This is it. This is America. This is the Not a Rock Star podcast.
All right, so how about you introduce yourself to the fine people?
Well, my name's Nathan Brown, and I'm a lifelong Paducah artist and musician, and just man about town, I guess. I've done a little bit of everything, but I've always tried to make my art in Paducah, which is kind of what we're doing now, right?
Absolutely. I'm excited to ask you about your entire musical career because I think I met you when I first started working in Allen Music several years ago, and I can't remember a time when the boosters weren't a big deal around here. So pretty much my entire time of being aware of the music scene, you guys have been a big band in this area. So I'm very excited to ask about that.
All right.
But the first thing I'm going to ask, this is a segment called Coming in Hot. What is the most annoying thing that you either have ever dealt with as a musician or maybe something you have to still deal with frequently?
That's
a big one, I know.
That's a big question. First of all, I'm going to preface this by saying there's a difference between, in my mind, what's annoying about being a musician versus what's annoying about like trying to run music as a business or as a way to at least break even. So most of the annoyances I have with music are more on the trying to figure out how to run it as a business side, right? I don't have anything annoying about the most annoying thing about being a musician for me is that I'm not as good as I wish I was. Now, that being said, the most annoying thing about being a working musician probably is just managing the relationships between the venues where we're playing, getting what they need, and the band members individually getting what we need. That's usually money, not always. Sometimes it's respect. Sometimes it's a good crowd. Sometimes I feel like the venue is working against us. We're trying to have everybody have a great time and relax and like kind of engaged, and the venue sometimes are working kind of against that with people not being able to get served in a timely manner, or people on the staff being rude, or people acting like they wish they weren't there. And I get that. Like, I'm in a band, right? I'm having fun. I'm doing the thing that I love. This server at this freaking restaurant might be having a tough day, been there a long time, and just wish they weren't at work. I get that. Sometimes when I'm at work, I wish I wasn't at work. But that's one of the things. When we're trying to create an atmosphere of joy and art, not everybody's always on the same page, you know? And so that's one of the annoying things about doing it. The other one would be just people in general not understanding how hard it is and how much effort it takes and how it's a constant job that you're doing all the time. Like, I don't know. It's something that's hard, and making art is hard, and making art in this environment, in this global environment, can be disheartening and difficult to be inspired. But I think we need it more now than we ever have. I just hope everybody out there understands that we all have something to say and that everybody expresses themselves in different ways. But like now more than ever, we need to make ourselves heard and do the things that make us happy, because there's plenty of things in the world. You'll always have a chance to be unhappy. That's an unlimited resource.
Right.
Like dig in deep, find something that makes you happy and do it. Dig in deep, find people that make you happy and go be around them. You know, let yourself go every now and then. Let it loose every now and then. That'd be my goal as an artist, to help people do that, you know.
Speaking of which, we are going to cover kind of your entire musical journey, but you are performing on Monday night at Paducah Beer Works, which is why we are releasing this episode today. You are our featured artist for M-POWER Paducah this month.
Right.
And I know I've been talking a lot about this on the podcast, but for anyone that hasn't heard about M-POWER Paducah yet, we do a concert the last Monday of every month at Paducah Beer Works in Paducah, obviously. And I always book 2 really great artists. We have Late July opening the show on Monday, and we have Nathan's band, the Solid Rocket Boosters. And there's a $10 cover charge, and we always take half of that and donate that directly to Starfish Orphan Ministry in Paducah. And they use that money every month to build beds for kids that don't have them. So that's where half the money's going. The other half, we always get a specific veteran to sponsor who is behind on their bills. So 50% is going to a veteran every month, someone in the area that's behind on bills, 50% is going to Starfish. So just so everyone knows, that's next Monday, and you can come hear Nathan's band, and I bet by the end of this episode, you're going to be very interested in what he has to offer and the great group of musicians he has around him. So let's just jump right in. Man, how old were you when you started playing? And what were like some of your inspirations? Did you have family members that played? What got you into music? And how old were you?
That's interesting. I would say my first real exposure to performing music was when I was, I think, 14. Me and my friend John Worth started messing around with a 1-string guitar and like one of those old school like toy store keyboards with little white square buttons you could make little sounds on. But I've always been interested in music, but no one in my entire family plays music. To my knowledge, not even a note of music. I think my grandmother on my mom's side had an organ or something. I know she did, but I'm not sure how much she played it. I never heard anyone in my family play music, ever.
Interesting.
But my family is a pretty strong in the visual arts. My dad, my uncle, and even my grandfather were pretty prolific artists and drawers and painters and things like that. So I've always been encouraged in my family to express myself. But musically, I was just kind of starting from scratch. And I'm not exaggerating when I say this. When we first started, we didn't know how to tune the instruments or anything like that. And we just started making up silly songs. I've always loved things that didn't take themselves too seriously. I've always loved bands and performers that were sort of willing to poke fun at themselves or poke fun at the world without being too hyper focused on their poetry or their deep, meaningful thoughts. Some people were just sort of silly and like speaking the truth through almost comedy. I've always loved stuff like that. Early on, I liked rock and roll and early heavy metal. I grew up in the 70s and 80s, and so I always loved rock and roll and folk music because that's more like what my parents would listen to. But then I kind of around middle school age, maybe 6th grade, 5th grade, is right in the MTV revolution, like around 1984 or so. Finally out on Old Mayfield Road out in the county, we finally got cable. It might have been 85 anyway. And and I recognized that there was music out there that I had never heard on the radio, and it was really sort of the heavy metal bands that sort of piqued my interest, like sort of the Judas Priest kind of bands, Black Sabbath. Early in the 80s, it was like Ronnie James Dio and Ozzy Osbourne. I saw stuff like that. I thought, wow, this is way more aggressive than like the music that I normally heard on the radio at the time, which would have been more like the Eagles or like, I don't know, bands like that, Boston, all the bands that were named after cities or states, Kansas, Anyway, I got interested immediately as soon as I saw it on this sort of outside of the mainstream fringe music. And this is really even right before the big hair metal took over the airwaves. This was right on the leading edge of that, where distorted guitars, fast guitar solos, people dressing like freaks. I was pretty interested in that. From there, it didn't take me long to get really interested in a band I saw on MTV the first time when I was in middle school called The Clash. And The Clash, to me, sort of changed everything. I don't know why, if it was just the age I was or what I needed at the time, but that sort of, and really, because I'm not as old as some of my heroes, the first Clash stuff I really saw was the Combat Rock album, which was their sort of most MTV album of all. But I saw a mohawk, and I saw guys wearing like just cut off on the sleeves shirts, and they just looked like normal guys. And that was my aha moment of like, you don't have to play in giant stadiums and be a rock star to make music. That was my moment that I thought, wow, these just like normal guys, and they're not doing like crazy guitar solos. There's no laser show or anything. I thought, man, can anybody just do this? It was pretty interesting for me. And then locally, I met, through my older sister, I met Wheeler Underwood, who there were rock and rollers in Paducah before Wheeler, but there have never been any to match his energy after Wheeler. So when I met Wheeler and I went to his house for the first time as a young person, I saw microphone stands and PA equipment and guitar amplifiers. And I swear this is the truth. I didn't know you could just go to a store and buy a microphone, or like you could just have one. I don't know why I had never put that together, but I just assumed they like issued you a microphone. Once you were famous, you were allowed to have one or something. And I was like, man, these guys are just playing music with their friends. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life. I didn't even know really how to play, but I knew I wanted to be a part of that. And so that's where that started for me. As boring and long-winded as that story is, we'll just go, the sequence is this. The Eagles into Ronnie James Dio, Shout at the Devil, straight into Wheeler Underwood, and that's the man I am today. There may have been a few more steps, but...
So I have a few questions.
Okay. So do I, man, honestly.
One is a little bit of a tangent, but you mentioned Dio. Where are you at on Dio era Black Sabbath? Because I freaking love it.
Dio era Black Sabbath is an amazing rock and roll band. Right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, like anything else, all art is defined and only can exist in the time in which it was made. So Dio era Black Sabbath only has one problem, and that is it's not Ozzy Osbourne era Black Sabbath. That's its only flaw. But that is enough of a flaw to keep people from appreciating it.
Yeah, I hate that kind of thing because I think there's so many good bands and even like good movies that people just, they're like intellectually opposed to it.
Absolutely.
Like they can't allow themselves to like it as much.
Absolutely.
And I think that's one of them. And I'll say this is not on the same level, but there's some 80s era Kiss that I like post-makeup Kiss. Some of it's the cheesiest, dumbest thing ever, but some of it I'm like, dude, Paul's vocals are like, he was like hitting his stride in the late 80s. So those are two, like, people would say hot picks. Those are two opinions you're not supposed to have as a musician. Also love the Sammy Hagar Van Halen. I love the David Lee Roth Van Halen too. But yeah, when you mentioned Dio, I was
So
like,
this is an easy. These are easy targets, right? Ronnie James Dio with Black Sabbath. That's low hanging fruit, right? Freaking Van Hagar. That's low hanging fruit, right? Everybody has an opinion about that kind of stuff. If any of those bands existed on their own with no history, no one would question their validity, right?
absolutely, yes.
In the punk rock world, for me, and this is, I'm assuming most of your viewers, a lot of your viewers will know what I'm talking about. It's the Descendants versus the band All. All is an amazing punk rock band. Their only crime is not being the Descendants. It's all the same members with a different lead vocalist. But in the punk rock world, it seems like nobody likes All, even though the songs are just as good, just as passionate. All the musicianship on them is great. The singing is great. The same guy wrote all of the songs. But it's like a hard line in the sand. It's the mortal sin of not being the Descendants. And that's their only flaw. But it kept them from greatness, or at least popularity, mass popularity. They were still pretty popular. But then the Descendants get Milo back, their original lead singer. They go on tour, unstoppable. Every 50-year-old man in the world is at that show with their arms crossed, standing in the back, nodding knowingly along, knowing this is the greatest rock and roll band of all time. But like, hey man, it happens. Every now and then it happens.
Yeah, I'm always fascinated by that. Just the whole, like, digging your heels in. I can't allow myself to like this as much.
Right.
I think that's kind of goofy. I also think once people mature, if you've been playing music long enough, like, you have such an appreciation, like you said, for how hard it is. And you start to really appreciate what a lot of different types of artists are capable of doing. And I think you kind of grow out of that a little bit. But so the punk thing,
Yeah.
really wanted to ask you about that. So that seems like just the whole punk, like, credo, the DIY, the energy,
Yeah.
that really spoke to you from an early age. And that seems to be a huge part of who you are even now.
For me, it's the only thing that matters. It's the only thing that matters to me. Do-it-yourself art is the only kind of art I want to have anything to do with. Do-it-yourself music is the greatest export of not only the United States, but of all, like, civilized countries. Like, garage bands are it, okay? And you can call it punk or whatever, but I'm not talking about punk with a capital P. Solid Rocket Boosters is kind of a punk rock band. We're doing whatever we want, whenever we want, and it's all based on feeling and the freedom we get. It's easy to be punk when nobody is paying you to do it, right? So, like, everything's kind of punk rock when you're just doing it just to get your message out or your energy out. I got into punk rock when I was a very early teen, middle schooler, and I just knew that I loved it because it was raw and edgy, and it was just folk art, right? It's not masterfully skilled. It is, we're doing this whether we're good at it or not. I kind of like that feeling. I think that kind of feeling goes into my other musical projects too. I'm not a hot picker. I'm not a great guitar player or bass player or any of that stuff. But I've got something to say, and I'm doing what I love, and I don't care if I'm good at it. It doesn't matter if I'm good at it, right? It matters that I care about it and share it, and anybody who agrees will be there. I'm a maker. I want to make stuff and put it out there in the world. If I wasn't playing music, I'd be making ceramics or making drawings or whittling or carving or building sheds. I'd be doing something because I feel like my job on earth is to be making stuff.
Well, and I wanted to ask about that too. So your primary band, Solid Rocket Boosters, you guys always have the coolest flyers. Are you the one designing those?
Yeah, I'm a graphic designer by trade, a lifelong artist just by my nature. and I like making stuff.
Now, if other artists wanted you to design their stuff, is that something you do?
I would be willing to help anybody anybody who really needed my help. But it's not like I do it for a living. I can't, I am a graphic designer as an occupation, so I can certainly do it. But the real magic happens when it's like 11 p.m. and I've been at work all day and I'm trying to find any time at all. I know I've got a gig coming up. I'm supposed to make a flyer. So I stay up way too late and spend way too much time looking through old vintage comic books and all this stuff. And it's like the real magic happens when I'm down to the line. I really need to get this flyer out and I'm looking for ideas and I'm just, I've been working way too much and I just start cranking and making these collages of all this crazy stuff. And usually that happens through just the passion of me loving what I'm doing, I'd give it a shot if you needed help. Just don't use AI, would be my advice, just like, don't do it.
What? Okay, so real quick, let's touch on that. That whole thing is freaking me out, man.
Yeah, man.
So it's freaking me out with the creation of art with it.
Mm-hmm.
But just in general, I don't know why people are so comfortable with where all that's headed. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, my thoughts on that are pretty simple, man. I don't know how people are comfortable with the way anything's headed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So let's just get that out of the way right now. If you're comfortable with the way things are headed, you are not on the same wavelength as I am. But as far as AI goes, this is like a classic. The trope or the quote is like, I want AI to do my dishes and my laundry and my taxes. I don't want it to do my art. I want it to take away the things that are keeping me from being able to do my art. What in the world is going on? It's like stealing people's art is way easier than teaching it how to do everybody's taxes or like do the mundane tasks of the daily drudgery of life so we can be opened up to have time to create our art. That should be the goal of AI. If we have to have AI at all, like, golly, we're like skipping the regular human intelligence and going straight to artificial intelligence? We can't make our own intelligence anymore? I don't know. We're definitely experiencing the dumbing of the world, and it shocks me to think of a world where nobody knows how to do anything at all anymore. Or really even has any reason to do anything at all anymore.
Yeah.
Part of me just thinks like they're just developing a culture of people who can just be good at home online employees. And I'm out on that. I'm out. That is not the world I want to live in.
That's what I think too. I definitely think there's like a contingent of people that is the goal. But yeah, man, with the art stuff, like it's terrifying. All of it to me is scary. But like, I think you cannot replace the human soul. And I think everything you've been saying about expressing your truest passions, like truly being authentic, like the energy that comes from that exchange of an artist performing or giving of themselves and then an audience receiving that energy, I just don't see how a machine can ever match that. And I do think, hopefully, as long as we're existing the way we are now as humans, I think there's always going to be some type of interest in a guy just showing up with a guitar and that real authentic thing that happens in the moment that cannot be recreated with just like a recording.
Dude, the one hope we all have, and I'm putting this together right now, okay, is all the art that I like, and I'm guessing all the art that probably you like and that most people like, is art that is defiant to the system, right? Hell, early rockabilly music, completely defiant to the system. Totally DIY, totally guys in garages saying, hey man, we don't want to sound like big band. We don't want to sound like the Nashville sound and what Chet Atkins has taken over Nashville. Now everything's got an orchestra in it. We want to sound like guitar, bass, and drums, like wild and free. We're rebelling against this system. The only good thing that can come out of AI is all the great art that's going to happen when we all have the boot of technology on our necks and we're all fighting against it and resisting it. Then tons of great punk rock is going to happen. Tons of great hillbilly music, soul music, hip hop, which has always fought against the system. So like, it's not going to undo art. It's just going to make it harder to do, harder to finance. But it's, hell, man, like, I'm not like this huge Pink Floyd guy, but this is The Wall, man. We're talking about the movie School of Rock. This is the man. We got to fight against the man. And that's what all good art is. All good art is rebellion against the man. And this is just another version of the man trying to squash the human spirit and make good workers. I think this is what the major corporations are going for. And I'm going to be over here playing punk rock songs and writing hillbilly songs the whole time, And everybody in the world who's sick of all this stuff is going to be hopefully coming to shows and going to art shows and helping people and going to volunteer at Community Kitchen one day a week and doing all the things that make us human, because I think the world's trying to beat the humanity right out of us. And I think it's been that way since the Industrial Revolution, or maybe before.
I'm writing a song right now called The Only Human Left. And kind of the point is like, I can't be the only human left. And I know I'm not. I know there's so many people that feel exactly like me and like what you're expressing. And we see where this is going. We realize it's not good. It is an affront to our humanity. That is a big part of what we're trying to do with M-POWER Paducah as well. Yes, we're trying to benefit children. We're trying to help veterans. But the big picture is we're trying to build a community collective. We want to give people a safe place to come once a month where they can really love each other. They can take in some of the absolute best artists in the area, have a great show, and we just build that community. Hey, once a month, whatever's going on, whatever problems you have, come in here. This is a safe place. And, to use a term I heard in church all the time as a kid, we're going to fellowship, we're going to lift each other up. And I'm hoping that people will build stronger bonds and connections, and then they can go off and discuss some of the tougher issues that need to be discussed, have the hard conversations, but do that with people that they're meeting in that context, making friends with people, making real connections. So that's like the big picture, but we also want to be giving back as we're doing that. But yeah, everything you're saying is like completely in line with all the motivation that Foster Stacy and Toby Glass and I have. Like, this is what we're trying to do is really like, not forsake our humanity, but understand how we function. We have to love each other. We have to work together. And then, trying to give people a platform, some of the best artists. So having mentioned that, let's talk specifically about the Boosters.
Okay.
How long have you guys been together? And when, I guess I should ask it this way. When did you form?
Yeah.
And what was the inspiration specifically behind the Boosters?
Okay, these are great questions. And we're going in the Willie Wayback Machine, okay? First of all, there is no Boosters without my friend and everyone's friend, Todd Anderson. Hot Rod Todd Anderson and I are the only official 100% of the time Solid Rocket Boosters, whatever you want to call it, members. We're on the board of directors, right? We're co-chairs. I'm just kidding. Back to our corporate conversation. Todd and I are the Boosters, and we started playing together. We helped start this band in 1995 in Murray, Kentucky. And it was the Solid Rocket Boosters is exactly what I was talking about earlier. They represent my transformation from punk rock guy into the world of early rockabilly and country music. Me and my friends discovered this music through punk rock music. Actually, most of our punk rock heroes were very inspired by these early rockabilly guys, and we went from there. But the original Solid Rocket Boosters, in the form that we all know now, in the form that I like to recognize as the main Solid Rocket Boosters, was myself, Hot Rod Todd Anderson, J.D. Wilkes, our dear friend that we were later in a band called Those Legendary Shack Shakers with, and then John Worth on the drums, and our friend Brian Gray, who's a very prominent musician in Louisville to this day, all started this sort of rockabilly band before we really knew what rockabilly was. And we were doing a lot of early country, rockabilly, and jump blues stuff. Certainly J.D. Wilkes was a scholar in the world of jump blues and harmonica blues and Chicago-style blues. And we just knew we wanted to be a bunch of little Carl Perkinses. What we really wanted to do was rock and roll, but we were all kind of small town country boys, and that's just the way it comes out, right? Like Carl Perkins was just trying to do what Chuck Berry was doing or what Little Richard might be doing, but he knew, hey, I'm just a white country boy from the middle of Tennessee, you know. I can't sound like this, but when I try to sound like this, it sounds kind of like this, which is also cool. This is my little place in the world. So we're just all trying to find our little place in the world. But it's been a long time. We have been a band for, what is that, 30 years? It's a pretty long time, right? There were gaps in there where we were off running our different bands. We Todd and I both were in the Shack Shakers for a while, and then we moved to Nashville and we made a go of it there. We both got married and our lives changed a little bit. We left that band. Shack Shakers continued on to do great things in the world of music. In fact, that's probably my claim to fame. I used to be in the Shack Shakers, then we lived in different cities, but we both ended up back in Paducah. And as soon as Todd moved back to Paducah, we started up the Boosters again. And since then, we've been playing with all the areas, all of our favorite musicians around the area. People sit in with us. We have different guitar players, we have people playing piano. We have fiddle players. We have different drummers. It's just like this. The Solid Rocket Boosters are a vessel in which we can pour all these different ingredients, and it's always different every time we play. It's a little bit different.
Well, let's talk about Monday.
All right.
Let's entice the people here. Can you give a little bit of a preview?
I can probably, if there's enough people there, get Hot Rod Todd to take his top off.
Okay, so there you guys go. That's worth the $10 cover.
I agree. Bring your cameras. Do not bring your children.
But you have mentioned you guys have a few other musicians that sit in with you. Is Bryce Hayden going to be playing with you Monday? Is Josh Coffey going to be with you?
Bryce Hayden is just a hero of the Paducah music scene. He is playing at the top of his game. He's a guitar player, and he's a guitar teacher, and a guitar aficionado,
and a great vocalist too.
And a great great guy. You know, man, he's just a all around pretty good human being, and he's going to be playing the lead guitar with the Boosters on Monday. And if you've never heard this guy play, you need to come here and play. He's across all genres. He's a master, but at this sort of niche that we're kind of wedging into, which is this sort of early honky-tonk 50s sort of style of guitar playing. He's got the tone and he's got the licks. He's just great. He makes our band sound so good. We have Josh Coffey, the mayor of Music City, the president of the world in the world of music. He's there. The original redheaded boy, our friend and yours, Mr. Josh Coffey, who is also a music educator in our town and a huge influence. He plays fiddle with us most of the time. He is he is a fixture in the Solid Rocket Boosters. We would barely be a band without him. We know him, we love him. Josh Coffey on the fiddle. And also, as a very special treat, we're going to have Benji Bohannon on drums, who is just this master drummer, a pro, a drummer's drummer, a musician's drummer. He has played all around the world. He's currently touring all over the world. He'll be there Monday playing drums with the Booster. He's a friend of ours we've had for 30 years as well, from the Murray State days. He's played on the largest stages all over the world. He's a master craftsman at the drums. He's one of these guys that is playing music on the drums. What he plays is so in the pocket and so musical and so adaptive to what's going on around him. He's a really, really great drummer. Anybody who wants to be entertained, show up. It's really, really going to be good. And I'm not just saying that because I'm in it. I will be there. Even if I wasn't playing, I would be there because it's like the purest expression of music to me. And it's simple songs, 3 chords and the truth kind of stuff. But we love it. And I just hope people come and support this cause and come hear some music. And Late July, she's great, right? Amazing. You do have a way of getting all the best talent around Paducah because you're one of the best, most talented people in Paducah, and everybody in the business or in the scene respects you. And, we wouldn't be over here playing for free for charity for just anybody, but the fact that you asked us means a lot. So we'll be there supporting. Hope everybody will be there and support this thing. It's worth it. Don't do it for them. Do it for yourself. Do it because you just have very few chances in this lifetime to come out and just prove that you're cool.
Yeah, all the cool kids are doing this.
You got a chance to be cool Monday. Don't blow it. For heaven's sake.
Well, one of my favorite things about M-POWER Paducah is I don't get to watch all the best musicians,
right?
Really ever. And a lot of us are in the same boat. Unless we're playing shows together, we all have to play on the weekend. So, you can't just, take a Friday off and go watch somebody.
That's what's cool about this thing being on Mondays.
Yes. And so we try to really think of what's the best scenario all around. And I think it's just best for people in general, the public, because there's not a lot going on Monday, but also musicians, we're conscious of, hey, we're asking people to volunteer time. But if we put it on a Monday, at least they're not losing money.
Right.
Because if we were to put it on a Saturday, you're asking every musician to give up their biggest paying night.
Be almost impossible for most people.
Yeah, it couldn't happen.
We'd already be booked, probably.
Because it's not a matter of donating time. It's a matter of taking a giant pay cut out of your job and donating time. And that's just unreasonable. But Mondays is perfect. And so that's perfect for me too, is once a month, I know I'm going to hear 2 of the best artists in this area. And it's like a huge treat. So guys, come out Monday. It's going to be awesome. Like Nathan said, Late July is opening the show. She's the one-woman band.
It's amazing. I've seen her many times. Very talented.
Very talented. Awesome vocalist. Great guitar player. A lot of high energy. Very coordinated because she's playing the suitcase drum with her feet.
Yep.
And then the Boosters, like I said, I can't remember a time when the Boosters weren't a staple in this area. And you've got Nathan and Todd, and they're the glue, they're the soul of the band. But the cool thing is they've kind of got this almost family all-star band type thing going on, where it's like a community band, and they've always got the best of the other musicians coming in to play with them. So on Monday, you're going to hear Josh Coffey. Josh Coffey is as good of a musician as anybody I've ever met in my life. Bryce Hayden is a virtuoso guitar player, great vocalist. And then you said Benji's on drums.
Benji Bohannon on drums.
So you're going to see an all-star band. You're going to hear a great solo performer first in Late July, and then these guys are playing.
I'm going to get Late July on the stage with us to do something.
You absolutely should.
I'm going to try my best.
And she's got a lot of that Americana vibe, like that raw energy.
I'm into it, man, big time.
Yeah. So, real quick before we sign off, I do want to tell you about our sponsors. Both of these groups, these businesses are very instrumental in M-POWER Paducah. So first there's Toby Glass from Metropolis Music and Media. He's one of my best friends. He edits this podcast. And I tell you guys every week, visit Toby if you need any media work done. He can do pretty much anything you need. But Toby is a huge believer in the mission of M-POWER Paducah. He volunteers his time to make some commercials for us. He's there to help Foster out if he needs help running sound or lights. He's there every month because he cares about the mission. And then House to Home Realty in Southern Illinois, that's ran by Celia Robertson. Now, we tell you about their business. They have a great company, but we are also just huge fans of Celia because she is our partner for the veterans. She's the person that I am working with every month to make sure the money gets into the hands of a veteran in need. So both of those businesses are not just offering a great product, they're both working with us side by side to help our community.
I got one more thing to say.
Yeah.
In that regard. And I know that you, another partner, Paducah Beer Works is not just a partner in this. I'm telling you, people, when you're a part of the Paducah Beer Works community, you're supporting all the local bands that play there. You're supporting all the things that the owner and the staff and the people who love Paducah are all. Paducah Beer Works is the nucleus of this giant system of what makes Paducah great, which is normal, regular people supporting other normal, regular people. They do so much in this community to just be good neighbors. That's the best way I can put it. They're the best neighbors. They're always doing something, looking for ways to serve other people. So when you're part of the Paducah music scene, you're in a pretty cool, exclusive group of people who are just generally awesome and go out of our way to help each other and other people. Just the contribution that Paducah musicians alone make to nonprofit work and charitable work in this town. I don't know. Maybe there are probably other groups, but just the alliance of Paducah musicians who are constantly playing for fundraisers and playing for charity, that's one thing. But to have a place to do it like Paducah Beer Works, when you walk in, you're going to see tables full of canned goods and shelf-stable food items that they're donating to charities. You're going to see tables full of toys for kids who are underserved or underprivileged that need Christmas gifts. You're going to see a barbecue smoker going in the parking lot because they're doing making food for people who need food assistance in our community. Every day, the people at Paducah Beer Works are doing something to help this community, and they are a great partner. They are just a great organization that is always there. I can't say enough about the good things going on at this little hub of activity at Paducah Beer Works. It makes stuff like this possible too, right?
Foster is, I feel all the same things you just said. And
Right.
I love that guy. I can't thank him enough for his friendship and his support in general.
Yeah. Good
But
musician too.
he will do anything that he can to help people. He'll give the shirt off of his back. And when I mentioned this to him, he doesn't like me saying this, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. I mentioned this to him, and he was like, yeah, I want to help. We'll partner in this. And then he was like, we've kind of already been doing this. At that point, it had been over a year, and they had donated tens of thousands of dollars in one calendar year to a different charity every month. They chose a different charity. So they had 12 different charities in 2024. And I think it was literally tens of thousands of bucks they had raised. So he's all about it. So you can feel good about that. When you come out to these events, you're not just getting a great show. And all of these people that we're booking to play, these are people that are not only the most talented, but we feel great about what they're doing. So these are solid, good human beings that are very talented. And the venue itself, everything Nathan just said is true.
Todd Bloom, man, he's
great
another
guy.
He's at the center of all of it, right?
So you can also feel great about supporting Beer Works. But not only that, they have awesome food. I don't drink, so I can't speak to the drinks, but people are in there constantly drinking, so it must be good. And the food is phenomenal. So it's worth the $10 cover just to get the show and to be able to experience their menu and everything.
I'll do all the drinking for you.
All right, there we
And
go.
I'll tell you right now, the beer and the drinks and even like the seltzer water, the sodas, everything's better at Paducah Beer Works. Can't explain it, but it's just true. And I'm not saying other places don't do it too, man. We play tons of charitable stuff and do amazing stuff at Dry Ground too. So embrace beer and embrace local businesses, embrace local musicians, right? Local charities. And it's a Monday night. Like, get out of your comfort zone. Get out of the house on a school night. Go support this thing. Be somebody, right?
So we got a huge Thanksgiving week. So Nathan and the Boosters, along with Late July, are playing Monday, the 24th, Paducah Beer Works. Doors open at 6:30. $10 cover. Again, half going to children to build beds, half going to a veteran. Nathan's playing Blackout Wednesday at Dry Ground with the Pickett Brothers for another great cause.
That's right.
And then if you are not in the Paducah area, but maybe you're in Southern Illinois, you can come watch me on Wednesday.
I might skip my gig and come to that.
So I'm actually on Tuesday night, I'm in Edwardsville, Illinois at Big Daddy's from 6 to 10. And then Wednesday I will be at Teddy's in Heron from 8 to 1. And then on Saturday I will be at the Long Branch Shooting House and Saloon in Ava, Illinois from 6 to 9. So 3 shows this week. And then again, Monday night, guys, come hang out with us. Nathan, I can't tell you thank you enough for volunteering your time, but also thanks for hanging out with me today, man.
I love this town. I love this region. Man, I love you.
I appreciate that, brother.
Let's do it. Let's be there. Come out Monday and shake my hand and introduce yourself. Or if you know me, come out and let's hang. Let's talk. Let's figure out a way to make this place a better place to live.
Let's do it. Well, I hope you have a great weekend. And brother, I will see you on Monday.
Can't wait. We'll be there.